Hello friends and welcome to this lesson. Now today let's learn how to write bad news messages. Now what are bad news messages? Unfavorable replies, denials of favors, denials of adjustments, somebody losing a job, somebody losing a bid. These are all bad news messages. So let's see how to write bad news and write it in a positive way. So, friends, we'll also understand how to organize a bad news message. Now, the most important thing when you're writing bad news or good news is your attitude, is your tone. But for a bad news message, the tone becomes even more important. So, we have to make sure that the tone is exactly right. And how do you get the right tone? You can get the right tone only through your attitude. So it is the right attitude or the correct attitude or the appropriate attitude that will give you the right tone. So we have to try and develop the right attitude. Now let's see how we can create the right attitude. Now, the right attitude can only come when you empathize with your receiver. Whosoever is going to be reading the bad news, whosoever is going to be at the other end, if you empathize with that person, then your tone is going to alter. Then your tone is going to give rise to the correct attitude, and your attitude is going to give rise to the correct tone. Now don't throw the rule book at someone that this is what rules say. I'm sorry, as per rule number 276 section 2.2, this is what needs to be done. That's fine, that rule is there. The rules were made by people, but then the rules were also made for people. So do not make rules overrule people, overrule emotions. Human beings are emotional beings. So if you have to appreciate somebody, then call out by the person's name. But if you have to criticize, then try to mitigate the blow by talking about the entire team in case there is a team. And friends, everybody has pride. Everybody has self-esteem. So always try to shield the pride or self-esteem of everyone, because you and I have our self-esteem too, and even we would like to shield our own self-esteem and would like others to be considerate towards us. Now let us look at the plans that we have for bad news messages. So every bad news message needs to be read as fair and reasonable by the receiver. And what kind of resistance do you expect from the receiver? What is your relationship with the receiver? And what is the bad news? All this would actually decide how you are going to construct your bad news. And to construct a bad news message, we have two plans. One is the indirect plan and the other is the direct plan. So let us see what these two plans are. Indirect plan we'll do first. This is also known as the inductive plan. So when you are giving it indirectly, then always remember, people always like to hear something good at the beginning. So give good news quickly but take time with the bad is a good rule to follow. And in the indirect plan, we follow exactly this rule by giving a buffer, a piece of neutral or good news, and then giving the explanation and analysis, then giving the decision, and then going for a friendly and positive close. So this is the indirect plan or the inductive plan in a nutshell. So let's look at this. At the beginning, when we have the neutral or the buffer, there some appreciation, something about how long you go back, with each other, some assurance, some agreement on something, a good, word about something, a compliment, something about cooperation, some good news, some neutral courtesy, have tea, have coffee, have this, have that, that is done when we have a meeting. So here also you do some neutral courtesy, how are you doing, how's the family, everything. That way, build some understanding before you actually break the news. And then, before breaking the news, put your logic to play, give reasons to convince the person that this matter was considered, this matter was debated, deliberated, and a lot of effort went into it to see a different result. But because of certain other things which you would also mention, the result is what it is. So after the explanation and analysis, you give the decision, and along with that, if you have any helpful suggestions. But when you give the decision in an undiluted fashion. The decision cannot be decorated with anything. That will come fair and square and bare. So give it objectively, give it as it is. Do not try to clothe the decision in anything, because that would be detrimental, that would be wrong. Then we come to a friendly and a positive close, where we do not want to lose the friend, we do not want to lose the employee, we do not want to lose the customer. Somewhere we want to remain tied to them, somewhere we want the relationship to persist, because, my dear friends, you do not know what the future holds in store. You actually do not know when you would need whose help. So remain in touch, do not break off, offer your assurance that you would be willing to cooperate in future, that you would like to offer your services or products in future too, and you would like them to continue to patronize you, continue to let you serve them. And then you have to also show continued interest in them and in whatever you were doing together. So that is the way in which you have a continuance of the relationship despite this road bump that came in the way, or a small road block that came in the way of the relationship, by way of this denial, by way of this bad news message. So bad news messages, see, you cannot always provide only good news. That is not possible. That doesn't happen in life, does it? It doesn't happen. So there's going to be more bad news to be conveyed than good news. So my dear friends, it will be great if you can learn how to convey bad news in a good way. That is the most important thing. Now let's go here and see what is the direct plan. We've just seen the indirect plan. Now let's see the direct plan. So there is going to be, bad news around the corner a lot of times, but not all bad news will be taken very badly by the receiver. Supposing somebody said, please do this for me, and then the person calls you, asks you, and you say, no, I have not been able to do it so far. Now the person may not feel so bad. He'll say, okay, later on if you get time, then you can say, no, I'm not going to get time. Oh, no worries, I'll get it done by someone else. Now it depends on what the thing was. A lot of bosses, a lot of customers also, they want to read the bad news first. They don't want the good news first. They say, give me the bad news, then we'll talk about other things. And remember, friends, you always have to follow a direct plan whenever there is an emergency. There you cannot beat around the bush. There you cannot, urgent messages need to be passed on immediately, without any delay, without any buffer or explanation or anything. Give the news. You are wanted there immediately. There's an emergency. And let the person's adrenaline start pumping. Let the person run and go there. Because it's an emergency, it's an urgency. So there, no indirect, nothing. Yes, when something has already occurred, happened, a sad event, a bad event has taken place, and somebody is going to be affected very badly, emotionally, physically, will feel shattered, then we think of ways and means of cushioning the blow. Then the indirect plan comes into place. Now let's see in the direct plan what happens. Just like in the good news direct plan, bad news also is given in the first paragraph. So the good news setup is replaced by the bad news. That's all. There's no change in the plan. So we are going to always follow the direct plan for both the messages in a similar fashion. And if we have such bad news to be given, non-sales related inquiries when information is undesirable is not provided. A lot of information is secret information or secretive information about the company's products, services, manufacturing, design. So that is not shared. So such negative replies, such denials, you didn't get permission for something, such denials are not taken as very negative. They are negative neutral kind of thing. If there is an adjustment or claim that you are refusing, now that's all right, that's due to your procedures and things. So people will have to understand, and you would also have justification for it. If credit is refused, if a visa is refused to someone, all these things are tied to rules, regulations, and your fulfillment of the same. If something has been denied, you try again for it. And make sure you fulfill all the criteria. But don't just feel bad about something being denied, because that is part of life. Acceptance and denial. We do it too. We don't accept everything. Even we deny a lot of things. We refuse a lot of things. See, a lot of times you get invitations and requests for favor. You get party invitations. You get invitations to go and speak. You get invitations to various functions to go and attend them. Sometimes to be a guest or a guest of honor or a chief guest. And if you don't have time, or if you are tied up elsewhere, you have to say sorry. You have to regret. You have to give a negative reply. So a negative reply is not always bad or something to feel very bad about. Now I'll give you a very, very important tip. Friends, when bad news is about people and something bad that has happened to people, that is when you have to be the most caring, and you have to be very, very careful. So if it involves a person and something bad happening to a person, then that bad news has to be handled with great care. If it is about something related to business, it is related to some request of some kind and all that, handle that with care too. because a lot of times people take it very negatively. They become very angry, they become very negative. So handle that with care as well. But people and news about people, handle with the greatest care. Because friends, end of the day, if we don't care for people, then we don't care for anything. Because everything that is happening here, we are doing it for people. They may be your friends, your relatives, your family, whosoever. So value people, value their emotions, keep your own emotions in check. Make sure you do not hurt someone further, because some event or some happening has already hurt them. You don't be a cause of hurt to anyone. So my dear friends, I hope you have enjoyed the lesson. I'll see you in the next. Until then, all the best.